We are live. Hey guys.
Hi guys. I'm doing well, and yourself?
I am very, very well. It's Sunday evening here in Sydney. We are all in Sydney, guys. So for anyone who is watching on my channel right now, these are my two friends from Sydney, Max and Michael. Would you like to introduce yourselves for our watchers this evening?
Oh, of course.
Max, how about you
I'll.
first?
Should I start? Okay.
Yeah, go first, man.
Well, sorry, man. I'll just take the first go. All right. Anyway, yeah, I'm Max. I've been to China well over about 12, 13 times, all for different reasons, like studying or traveling. And yeah, I've been studying Chinese since year six. So you could say I have a bit of a fate with China. And I take the good bits, I take the bad bits, and put them all together. And
Yeah.
I'm a Chinese. I support some things in China, and I really like studying over there because it really helps me concentrate, and having just the environment around me of people that study hard really helps me out.
Agreed.
Anyway, I'll pass it to Michael over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so I live in Sydney. I've also been studying Chinese for a bit, like 4 years, so not nearly as long as Max. I studied in
4 years. Your Chinese is amazing for 4 years.
Well, I say 4 years, but really it's only been like a year and a half when I was in China studying it. So except for then, I haven't really done very much like studying. Like I talk to people, maybe like I've watched one Chinese series, if that counts as studying. But yeah, so it's been about 4 years since I started learning. And yeah, it's great. It's like really interesting language and I'm loving it.
Awesome. I love how you've included your Chinese names here. So Max, can you go through how you got your name there, Xiaoma?
Xiaoma. So to be honest, before my name was Ma Ke.
No.
Yeah, it's because it sounds like my English name, but then I realized when I went to China, because it was my Beijing teacher that had given me this name, I realized that it's actually the name, like the identical name of Karl Marx, the one that wrote The Communist. Thought.
They would love you over there.
I mean, they all laughed. They all laughed when they heard my name whenever I said Marcus, and they all just giggled at me. And I wanted to be a bit more serious when I met people, so I kind of like wanted a name that kind of reflected me as a person, which is, I'm happy to have fun, but I'm also ready to learn. So I picked little horse, I guess. It's pretty easy to remember, little horse. It's better than being called Karl Marx. So yeah. What about you, Michael?
Similar. Like my teacher gave me my first Chinese name, which was Mikai, meant like open rice or something. And then I never really liked it. And then someone told me it sounded like a Japanese girl's name, and I knew for sure I had to change it. And I really like Chinese. I really like Chinese names, how there's like a meaning behind them. And so I really was like looking for one, and I didn't really come up with this. I found like a Chinese artist, a singer, really recommended. He's got like a good reggae vibes. His name's Xie Tianxiao. So the last name is Xie, like Xie, gratitude. And Tianxiao, like sky smile. I think it's quite a cool name. So, everyday smiling. So yeah, I like it.
This is a good name. It's better than Little Horse. So.
You're talking yourself out. I like Little Horse. My name essentially means love rice. So I do love rice. So it's appropriate.
I mean, it accords to your behavior. It accords to you as a person. You love your rice.
Literally.
And it also sounds like Amy, right? It's Amy.
Amy, yeah. It used to be
Amy.
Which my Chinese friend gave me after a whole 1 second of thinking about it. So I got my original Chinese name, Li Huilin, when I asked my Chinese friend, hey, can you give me a Chinese name? And she was just like, oh, here you go, Li Huilin. And I was like, oh, great. There we go. And she chose that name because she liked the singer Cheng Huilin. And then she just put Li on the front. So I updated my name a few years ago. My friends in China all call me Amy anyway, because famous for 1 year when I was in Tsinghua, it was very unfortunate. I had to go on a very restrictive diet to try out all these intolerances, and basically I ate a whole lot of rice because that was one of the only things I could eat for a period of like 3 to 6 months. It was awful. I'm missing out on all the food that I love so much. I don't know if you've seen my videos before, guys, but I do a lot of stuff about food. Anyway, that sucked, but I ate a lot of rice, so people started calling me Amy because literally wherever I went, I would be eating rice.
I mean, could you eat fried rice? That is a question. You make it a bit, mix it up here and there.
It depends. If it had garlic in it, no. If it had soy sauce in it, also no. If it had what else couldn't I have at the time? Garlic, soy sauce.
All the
Oh my gosh.
delicious stuff.
Oh
You
man.
would
the
have saved
flavors
so
of
much
things.
money though. You would have saved
And
so much money.
I also lost a whole lot of weight.
Oh,
I couldn't eat hardly anything. I was using this rice cooker in my room. Like it was against the rules. I shouldn't have been using a rice cooker in my room. And I was like making myself little soups and it was
yeah.
such a depressing 3 to 6 months of my life. But thankfully I passed all the tests and I can now eat whatever I want. Anyway,
Yes, we got there.
And so do you still love to eat rice, or is that you had so much rice then you're just done with it now?
well, no, I will always love rice, but it's funny how your body kind of goes through different phases taste-wise. Like I was in a period where I just couldn't get enough of rice. I just love rice so much. But now I feel like I've kind of transitioned into a more noodle period of my life, more specifically
Fair enough.
Yes.
wheat
Yeah.
noodle. I did go through a rice noodle phase about a year ago, but now I'm transitioning into wheat noodles. Yeah, but I still love rice. Just
What do you
like,
reckon, white rice or brown rice? Because I'm a massive brown rice fan, but in China it's considered to be like low grade. Like if you're wealthy, you afford white rice, right? But here it's like the healthier version is brown rice, so much better as well. You can never find it there. I feel like from China, I expected more from the development of rice culture, to be
So
honest.
a lot of things changed for me when I went to China. So before I went to China, I was like, oh yeah, brown rice, so healthy, so great. I love brown
And
rice.
mobility. The texture
After
as
I go
well.
to China, I've been
Yeah.
educated. Oh no. We're gonna have our dozen rice. Like there ain't gonna be no brown rice here. And also the same with tea. I went to China being like, oh, peppermint tea, like Lipton tea bags. Oh, such great tea. And
Yeah,
now
all about that green tea.
China gave me the lessons. They told me what's up. And so I can't stand brown rice ever since I've been to China. But you still like it, Michael?
Oh, massively. Yeah, 100%. The darker the rice, the better. Go like that wild black rice, red rice as well. It's
I
awesome.
do like
But
purple.
white rice is the least flavorsome, the most like no texture to it. But I mean, look, it's still good. I'm not don't want to diss rice too hard. It's still good.
You know, everyone is allowed their preferences. I will go. Yeah. Mum always uses basmati rice when I'm making, like, because I get mum to make the rice for me when I'm cooking, and I'm always like, Mum, no, use the jasmine rice. It's just not right. This right consistency when I'm making a stir fry or something. But yeah, anyway, I've gotten a bit
I had
fussy.
a friend come visit from China, and I was really like proud to show her our bread here because I like really that like hard sourdough loaves bread. And in China,
Yeah.
all the bread like white and like cake. So I was like, you got to try this amazing bread. It's like really expensive. So I went out, just waited in line for like 15 minutes just to buy this bread. She ate it. She hated it. Absolutely despised it. But it like cut her mouth and everything. But it was so funny. We went to like a
What?
random Thai restaurant, and she was like, I love this rice. It's so different. And it was just like a normal white rice, but she could really taste like the differences. And then each restaurant we went to, like the Indian basmati rice, she was so into it. I just thought that was such like like an amazing stereotype that was true actually.
Yeah, no, that's hilarious. It's all very different. But interesting how that happens. Like when you're used to one thing and you go to another country and you have like bread in another country, you automatically are like, oh, that's different. Like I like mine better.
Yeah,
I actually have quite a few friends. Everyone knows that Australian meat is very good, right? Very good quality. So I had a lot of Chinese friends when they came to Australia to travel. They thought that our meat tasted funny because it doesn't taste the same as Chinese meat. And I found that funny because when I went to China, I also could taste a difference in the meat in China. Do you guys have a similar experience about
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd say the quality, it's funny in China, what they do is when they want to promote like a steak or something, generally they all factor it down to one thing. It's where the steak is from. So like everywhere you go, you'll either hear New Zealand steak or Australian steak, and those ones are generally the most expensive in all of China. But you can also buy like a cheaper version, which is like rubbery, and it's very different to what I'm used to. So I'm not really a fan of that steak there. But yeah.
Yeah, I had a host family once that I was staying with for a few weeks. Bless their hearts, to make me feel welcome. They made me a steak and like potatoes and broccoli, like what they thought of as like a Western
meal.
It was like the steak was. I guess it's just we cook it differently. Like bless them, they were so kind and went out of their way to provide for me and make me feel comfortable. But the steak just was not the same as what I mean. I guess
It ain't. It really is
Yeah.
quite
Have you
deplorable.
ever been in a situation where you felt obligated to eat something where you didn't really want to eat it at all? Like the steak, I'm sure you would have eaten it and then wouldn't have. But if they ever offered you something which, because Chinese people in Western eyes eat things which to us aren't like very appetizing. Have you ever been offered that and thought, oh, I should be
course.
Oh
Name
yeah.
the day that I haven't done that. Like you have to expand your knowledge more and more. So
Yeah.
the first time I went, like everything was new and different, and every time someone was like, "Here, have this," and I'm like, "What is this?" Oh, it's liver or duck blood,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Maybe best you didn't ask actually until after you ate it.
yeah,
I don't know how they solidify the blood. Like I've eaten like pig's blood, and then you
Yeah, it's like
boil
congealed,
it.
like yeah.
Bro, what is that, dude?
maybe someone in
What
the
is
chat can
that?
tell us. We've got a live
no
stream
idea.
chat going on here. Can someone please
Yeah.
tell us how the whole duck blood concept works? Because it's blood, but whenever it's served, it's very much solid. I wonder if they have
Yeah.
some coagulant.
Yeah, there's some cornstarch up in there or something.
Oh yeah, just in with the cornstarch. Just cornstarch and blood. Yum
I'll
yum
be
yum.
honest, this is the least appetizing conversation about food I've had in a very long time. Talking about blood and food, it's not for me, I'll be honest.
Ooh,
I've
someone
actually
has replied.
eaten. Oh, someone's replied, so we can
Yes.
find out.
Someone says blood gets solid when it gets out. No, so maybe it's just blood put into like some ice cube containers and then just like does its thing.
I think blood's meant to flow. I don't think it's meant to be solid.
And maybe it dries like crumbly. I figured this kind of coagulated blood.
It does dry. That is true, actually.
Isn't it kind of like soggy still, but doesn't lose its
Turns to solid in air.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not good science. So thank you.
I don't know how
Thank
it
you,
works.
Sam.
Yeah. It's all very new. I'm learning so much on this chat. But talking of like duck blood and interesting things, I took my parents for their first ever hot pot a couple of weeks ago, and I got mum and dad to try all of these, what we would call strange ingredients. Like I got mum and dad to try cow stomach and the duck intestine and cow.
Yummy.
Would you dare eat that stuff, guys? Would you do it?
I've done it. They have a saying in Chinese, which is 入乡随俗, which means when in Rome.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I've been tricked into eating some things. Sometimes I've just copped it on the chin and go, all right, time to eat some chicken's feet or time to eat like pig's nose. But like, at the end of the day, it's all just an experience. It's really just essentially a different culture and just something you need to, be open towards to really see how the locals do it in China. Yeah.
100%. Like you don't forget those experiences.
Never.
Those are some of my favorite moments in China when you just go with the absolute flow. You eat what they eat, you drink what they drink. Except for one time when I was trekking in Western Sichuan on the Tibetan plains, came across some Tibetan nomads, stayed with them overnight in their Tibetan nomad tent, and then they offered me to drink some cow yogurt, some yak yogurt. Got incredible food poisoning. It was really quite spectacular. So just don't do that. Don't eat.
I did try some wine once, also trekking it. Yeah, it did not go down with me either. But I've never tried any of those funny meats or anything because I'm vegetarian. So in China, that was something which never really worked out. So I mean, so many times I got so many confusing looks when I told them I was vegetarian. The concept is so different over there.
Yeah.
No such thing as vegetarian in China.
Well, you have to say you're kind of like a Buddhist sort of vegetarian. But the waitresses sometimes would still bring me food, and I'd be like, "What is that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, it's just something that adds flavor." Because we often eat meat like this big piece of steak or the chicken leg.
Yeah.
But often you find it's just like part of the flavor, it's just like a little sprinkling on top, like some salt and pepper. So it was until my Mandarin got like quite good where I could explain myself properly. There were so many times that I'd be like, yeah, but it's meat. And they'll be like, no, it's just prawns, or it's just, what's it, that xia, the prawn or something? Those little, they consider them to be like a kind of grass or something like that. So they are considered like vegetarian dumplings. Okay. So there was many times I was left in a difficult situation.
I tried making a video about like how to be vegetarian and how to be vegan in China. And I thought I had done a really good job, but like there are a lot of dishes that they will just like flavor with some animal fat, just like casually, just like add the fat.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than it looks to be vegetarian in China.
Well, actually, I agree with you.
Yeah.
because I'm still learning what does have meat in it. Like malatang, that base actually is like bone broth, which I was quite disappointed to learn. But the flip side of that, like they have so many vegetables and mushrooms that it's ridiculous. Like we just have 2 or 3 types of mushrooms in close rotation in our supermarkets. You got like the button mushroom and the portobello. We go to China, especially down in Yunnan province, and it's just like hundreds and hundreds of them in close rotation. And their vegetables are also like certainly more than we have here. So it's also quite easy once you get to have some Mandarin language so you can explain yourself a little bit.
100%. I once talked to my friend Elliot, who lives in Wuhan, and he's vegan and he lives like a very like vegan lifestyle. But he was telling me that the philosophy behind being vegan in China, and he said you be vegan to the extent that you can live in China, because there are going to be slip ups. Like but there has to be some kind of like allowance for mistakes and slip ups because they will always happen. Like the other day, I took my sister out for Chinese food nearby, and I got her an eggplant dish that I really love. Yuxiangqiezi. It's one of my favorite dishes, and I forgot. Like it's on the vegetarian menu, but it has little ground inside. And I think actually the dish is typically served with meat. But yeah, it's funny. It's like it's mostly vegetable, but there's also just some.
Sometimes it's almost like you're in a situation of I'm just not going to ask, really. Like it looks like it's a clear noodle soup, but I'm just not going to ask just in case. And yeah, I agree with my friend.
Better not know. Yeah.
But these are like the things that makes Chinese cuisine so big in the world. These are the things that actually makes Chinese like what Chinese food is. And like I've got to say, I think as years go by, I think the influence of Chinese food is still taking over the world. It's still quite a sought after a thing, even though it's a bit different here because we like westernized Chinese food, made it really sweet and the stuff that we like. But there's definitely things in China like foods like kaoyangrou, which is the cumin skewers. I love them. They're so good. And then the malatang, as Michael said before, that is some crazy ass noodle soup. So they got some really good things. They got things we find weird, but things we find good.
Yeah.
In the restaurant, it's still mostly, from my understanding, it's still mostly sort of Chinese or Chinese descendants, or for exchange students at least. Because I go to the restaurants near UNSW, and there's like a big Chinese student population there. It doesn't really feel like most of the Australian population found out about malatang and those other interesting Chinese dishes.
I'm doing my best to change that because there is a lot of really great Chinese food here in Sydney because there is such a vibrant migrant population here. So I've been taking my parents in the last few weeks out to discover different kinds of Chinese food because for them, until now, for them, Chinese food is still that traditional takeout type of stuff. So I've been taking them for some really authentic type things like malatang. I took them to hot pot, mo. I'm taking dad for lamien tomorrow, and we're going to learn how to like make the noodles. So it's been really fun kind of rediscovering cuisine with them and seeing their first reaction to stuff that I love to eat. So that's been really, really fun. But yeah, there's definitely a great Chinese food culture here in Sydney if you know where to go. So it's been really cool.
Any like good options.
Max, where have you gone?
Yeah, sorry, someone just called me and I'm using my phone. So Bayang, I know you're watching this. Please stop calling me. Otherwise, I won't be able to. Bayang. He's also a guy I met during Hanyutao. His Chinese is really good.
Yeah.
Hi Bayang. I'll just say, hey, g'day mate. How's it going? Long time no see. I'll talk to you after this is finished.
Why not?
Love it. Actually, well, that kind of takes me on to something I wanted to bring up. So we have a lot of things in common, the three of us. So obviously we're all from Sydney. We also all participated in the Chinese bridge competition known as Hanyutao. And for people who are watching that don't know what that is, it's basically this big Chinese competition that brings together students of Chinese from all around the world to participate in this live like Chinese broadcast on Chinese TV to see like whose Chinese skills are the best. And guys, can you run me through some of your experiences with the show? Like Max, how was it for you? How far did you get? What were some of the funny things that happened to you throughout the course of this show that is televised to millions and millions of people in China? Like, tell me.
I've been a bit greedy, if I'm being honest, and I've gone 4 times to represent Australia. Yeah, so I did 2 times in high school, and I did 2 times in university.
Nice.
I know it's a bit sneaky, but somehow I did it. And anyway, each time it was a completely different experience because it's like it's 2 years later, so just every 2 years I went and did it. And yeah, so my best result was being the Oceania champion, which was in 2019. And then yeah, so and then like the other times, I think they judged it by teams during high school, so I got third then. So I've been very lucky in that China's offered me so many study opportunities, like scholarships and whatnot, from doing these Hanyutao experiences. And as you said, you really do meet people from all over the world. It's not just China. So you go to China and you're meeting other people that are really doing the same thing you are, which is nice to have mutual connections and mutual hobbies. And in Chinese they say 志同道合的朋友, so just those ones.
I really love
our Chinese watchers.
100%. Like, what I loved about Hanyutao was that you would be in a group of people from all around the world, all different countries, ethnicities, using Chinese as the common language, whereas usually when you're in those situations, it would be English. So I found that super unique, super interesting, chatting with someone from South Africa, where you could be using English, but you resort to Chinese as the first option. It's like so cool.
Do you find it easier to understand a foreigner speaking Mandarin or a Chinese person speaking Mandarin?
Oh, Chinese person. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Some foreigners. It depends what foreigner it is. If it's Da Shan, then it may be Da Shan. If it's like
I prefer listening to Chinese people speaking Mandarin because it's obviously more correct.
Okay.
But I tend to learn more when I'm listening to a foreigner speaking Mandarin. So I like to watch that TV show Informal Talks, and also 世界青年说, I think is called, where it's basically a whole lot of foreigners coming together to talk about like different world issues. And I find I pick up a lot more Mandarin new words than I would if I was listening to the same show with Chinese people. But in terms of
actually cool.
I don't know, do you guys have that same experience? Like,
I actually did informal classrooms, so I met all the guys from that show, so I know all of them. Awesome. And their Chinese is insane. I'll be honest, their Chinese is just on a completely different level. But they've had lots of time in China. They've done masters and whatnot over there, studying the language. But what I find is watching those shows is really good because you actually it's more an up-to-date version of Chinese, so it's more colloquial. You'll learn more like spoken language. You'll learn how to crack jokes, like. So it's kind of cool seeing how they do it and like what's good and how to do it.
Chinese stuff. The only sort of Chinese program I watch is that dating one. What's that one?
The Last One Standing, isn't it?
I do like watching that show too. I watched the most rubbishy Chinese programs. I watched this one which was just like it was made for like teenage girls. I'll be honest with you. But it's in Mandarin and I love it. Like it's just interesting, it's like, kanra, just watching it for like the color and for the good looking people and stuff like that. But it was like, if it was in English, I would find it shockingly boring and probably the same with Peishan. But if it's in Mandarin, I love it. Like, I just consume the most like trashy popular culture and enjoy it.
It's a good way to learn a language. I'll send you some recommendations, Michael. I've got some good shows.
Yeah, I think I need it. It's been a while.
Amy, didn't you do a dating show? I'd love to hear about that. Tell me. I watched it. I saw it, Amy.
Oh my gosh, it was like the weirdest experience of my life. Like, I still can't believe that was me. Like, it was a complete out-of-body experience. So, yeah, so for people who don't know, I was in a Chinese dating show and they contacted me via Weibo. At the time, I was doing like a lot of stuff on Weibo, posting a lot of videos. I was posting like a photo every day. I don't do so much anymore. But anyway, someone contacted me on Weibo being like, hey, do you want to be on this dating show? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like,
why not?
Sounds like fun.
That's the way to do it.
yeah, so I was single at the time, so I did go I did go in with like, pure intentions. And yeah, so I went and it was, look, because my Chinese isn't fluent and it wasn't at the time, I needed to know what kind of questions they were going to ask me. So to some degree I would say it was scripted because I knew, the questions that were going to come, and I knew how to answer, and there was a couple of things we had planned, and there was some just weird things that I did on that show. Like, I've got a video on my YouTube that you can check out. Like, it's there for anyone to see. But I got them all like skipping on stage with me, and then people who couldn't skip, I made do push-ups, and then
People couldn't skip. What kind of
like,
thing is that, really?
I don't know. Like,
So
that's my standard. If you can't skip, I can't go on a date with you. Like, that's pretty much.
I was
yeah,
like,
was that how you judge the perfect guy? If he skips the
I
best.
only want a sporty guy because at the time I was making fitness vlogs, which was also another weird story. But yeah, I think because I did that because they wanted me to show a talent, and I'm like, no way am I singing, no way am I dancing, no way am I actually putting myself out there to show any of my talents, which I have maybe zero. So I was like, I'm just gonna do some skipping for y'all.
I loved it. They must have.
But you guys should, I don't know, I'm assuming that you're single, but you should go on some of those dating shows yourselves. It was such an experience.
Yeah.
It does sound like a lot of fun, actually. Slightly offended by your presumption there, but also like justified.
Yeah, Michael, come on, bro. You're single. Come on.
You can just tell.
Well,
It's
I'll
like
put
I'm
their
single
contact details
I'm
in
single.
the chat, and just slide into their DMs, guys.
Hey, ladies, 留个联系方式呗. I don't want to be Salma. That's what they called me at Hanyutao. They called me Salma.
What's Salma?
It just means like a
Dandy.
sleaze, like a dirt bag. Yeah, but it was with
Oh,
the
really?
boys. Yeah. 就是开玩笑而已. It's just a joke. But it was
Sure.
good fun.
At least it was just a joke.
I
I'm sure
promise
it
you it was a joke. I promise.
Michael, how was your Hanyutao experience?
That's where I met Max, actually, was at Hanyutao. And because of his Mandarin and also because of his singing, I never made it to the actual
I'm
China.
sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
Dude,
You
no,
always- you
the
can do it
better
this
Mandarin-
year.
What?
Next year.
Next year? Yeah, I'm graduated now. I think it's for students predominantly.
Yeah, I think it's only for university students.
If you do masters, are you gonna do masters?
Yeah,
Haven't
I mean,
thought
this
about it.
economic climate seems to be pushing people to be upskilling, and masters may be on the cards. So yeah, we'll see.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Someone has just asked in the chat, could we speak Chinese for 5 minutes as a challenge? I'm up for the challenge. How about you guys?
Well, what are we gonna talk
Oh,
about? 我们要聊什么话题？
很多的选择啊，你今天吃什么呢？
我今天吃什么呢
Yeah.
Marco, 你先来吧。
我今天我每天会吃特别特别多，但是
比如说呢？
比如说我今天吃了什么日本菜 sushi，
哦，
不知道怎么说。
寿司，
除了三明治，也吃了 oats， 不知道怎么说。
哦，三百。
你是说早餐片？
对，早餐片。对，然后这每天一直在吃，因为今天我锻炼很多工作的话，所以我工作的时候也要吃很多。你呢？
但是我看你的样子 ，Michael， 你太瘦了，你应该多吃点。
太瘦了，没有
胖，
瘦。你知道吗？我在中国的时候，我每天会吃特别多饺子，然后因为不好，所以我不会锻炼，所以每天吃饺子，然后回来的时候发现，其实我看起来好像是个饺子一样，我肚子白色也很软很大。
哎呀，我的妈呀！小妈，你呢？你今天吃了什么？
你问了这个问题，让我莫名其妙呢。开玩笑了，好的，就是我早饭的时候就是吃这个早餐片，然后就是午饭的时候我还是吃了薯条，还有这个汉堡包。Cause I like to 垃圾食物。然后后来我就去，就是晚饭的时候，我就是专门去一个中国饭馆，然后在那里就点了这个麻辣烫。对，已经对。 I love it, bro. I like the 羊肉，就是羊肉是特别好吃的，真的就是我最喜欢的小吃就是烤羊肉串儿，所以这个我真的，
比较
嗯
贵，中国有
嗯，
好吃也很便宜，所以想吃什
对
么都可以买。
对，应有尽有，他们东西还有吃的都是应有尽有的。Amy，你呢？你今
你什么？
天
米
吃什
饭吃米
么呢？
饭对吧？哎，你肯定吃了米饭。
我今天也吃的特别多，我也锻炼，因为今天就是一直在吃。我今天跟朋友们一起 picnic 一下，picnic 怎么说呢？
picnic，他们没有一个具体
就是
的词，
外面
就是
坐在
在外面搬个，对，坐在地上，可能在一个公园，对，
对，都是垃圾食品这种
然后
东西。
聚会，就聚会差不多的意思吧。
但是今天不冷吗？有打风，
太冷了，
在
真的。
外面坐。嗯，
现在哎，今天和昨天应该是悉尼最冷的一年之
对
内最冷的天气是吧？
对，
嗯，
上看起来很好看，很舒服，有太阳，蓝天，但是
对
不舒服。，
有太阳就好，没有太阳不好。
在中国
OK
走
啊，
上面
成功了，I think we did it, guys.
没
Oh,
办法
we have
5
a
分
lot of
钟吗？
people helping me out
That
here.
was the most Mandarin I've spoken in like ages.
This is how you say
野餐。
野餐。
Oh, okay. So yeah.
And then
Yeah,
people
like a
冷，
wild.
冷天吗？对啊，今天很冷啊，14度，
其实今天
Maybe 比欧洲不冷，
嗯，
嗯
但是主要的一个原因是因为它刮了那个很大的风，然后风吹过来的时候，就让我身体就特别凉，舒适。
嗯，
需要吃多点，要多点肥肉，
Yes，要
我不会
多吃
觉得很
点东西，
对啊
多吃点东西，
好好好，I don't need the
保
motivation.
重
I
保
already
暖。嗯
too much, but you know, life is beautiful with food.
Yes.
Another thing that we all have in common is we were all the winners of a video competition here in Australia called the Koala Meets Panda competition. And that also, if you're interested in entering, anyone watching at home and you're in Australia, the entries open on the 1st of September, so you can check that out. And we all won a trip to China from that, and that was really cool. So for my trip, I went to Dongbei, but this was like 4 years ago. So I think I was the first winner, but that was really cool. I got to see some really cool things. Like I was traveling along the border of China and North Korea, and there was one night that I was so close to the border that I would be woken up every morning by the 5 a.m. bells in North Korea. I'm not sure what that was, but every morning the bells would go off at 5 a.m. and it was very, very interesting experience. Max, where did you go for your trip? Max?
Like Locks Max. I know he did go to Hainan, I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
Oh, there you go. Max, are you there? Okay. Michael, what about you? Where did you go?
Well, unfortunately, so I won sort of last year's version. What do you mean?
And then coronavirus, the poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Due to coronavirus. So
Yeah.
I was supposed to go this year, but we'll have to wait and see when the situation gets better. And I'm sure I'll be able to go maybe next year, hopefully.
You'll get
That'd
there,
be
man.
great.
Don't worry. You'll
Where
get
you
there.
wanted to go, or did they sort of decide the location for you?
Oh, you get to decide. Yeah.
You can decide.
Where did you want to go?
Cool. Well, I've been all over. I would love to go to Tibet. That would be my number one choice.
Oh, that would be amazing. I've never been. I would love to go.
Yeah, last time I went to Xinjiang, which was really cool, like the northern province over there, because every place in China, it feels so different to the others. So that would be the one that's on like the top of my bucket list.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Where did you go, Max? You won a couple of years ago, or
I was the second winner. So I think you're the first. I'm the second. And Michael's the third. So yeah, we're all here. All winners are here. I actually went to Hainan, which is the most southern part of China. It's an island. Underneath the southern part of China. And it's almost like the Chinese version of Hawaii, like the climate, like the tropical atmosphere, like the trees and the seafood and everything that was there was pretty similar to what I saw in Hawaii, but even cheaper. And then yeah, so it's also really good because it's a free trade zone, I think, over there. So a lot of people go over there to avoid taxes and stuff like that when they buy products. And a
Yeah.
lot of it is actually about 80% off the retail price. So yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shopping.
Oh, I didn't do any shopping, but the person I was with, she bought like 10 bags or something, like 20 bags. Is yeah.
I like this lady. I
Girls
like her.
gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
女生嘛.
Yeah.
I went to Hainan once, like in 2014. It was one of the first trips I did traveling around China when I was studying. And I was just eating a lot of Hainan zero fan. But I've discovered that the Hainan zero fan that you get in Singapore is very different from the Hainan zero fan that you would get in Hainan.
In
It's very,
Hainan, yeah.
did you eat some Hainan zero fan?
Chicken rice, is that it?
So,
Chicken
yeah,
rice.
so basically, I didn't eat any Hainan Jiro fan. I might have, but I probably did actually. But I do know I ate like a chicken that they boil, and they say it's like their
Yeah,
specialty.
With
But
the
it's
coconut.
really, yeah, it's really like it's cool, but it's really plain in my opinion. It lacks some flavor. I don't know why. I'm just a picky guy, so.
No,
I actually,
you're allowed to
yeah.
think that. Like a lot of people in
yeah.
China will like not like certain areas of China's cuisine because it's too dan, like too plain. What were you saying?
Well, every province you can find
okay.
every other province's food, right? It's kind of, you don't necessarily just find Sichuan food, for example, in Sichuan, so you can kind of everywhere you are find what you're looking for. But it is
Especially
really cool. Yeah,
I actually,
exactly. That's like overrepresented, but fair enough because it is the best high up food, Sichuan food in my
really
opinion.
good.
That flavor explosion, it's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing about China. It's really got a big food culture. So no matter where you are, you'll find something, you know, that's authentic and unique to this certain part of China. On the topic of Hainan, I dissed that chicken before, but they also have another chicken that they do where they literally barbecue it. They somehow flatten the chicken in between these two like metal, I don't even know, prongs or tongs or something crazy, and then they just put it on fire, just like a flame grill, and it's just that was amazing. They've got the bit of salt and they've got like the lemon and stuff that you can put it into. So that was really unique. That was something that I really vibed with because I just love barbecue meats, to be honest. I'm a big meat eater. I'm sorry, Michael.
Don't
Sorry.
apologize. Yeah, that's fine. Like, that's what I miss about China too. Is like whatever time it is, you can always find those little barbecues outside. And even though it's mostly meat based, like just hang out there with some mates and drink some beers on the side of the street. Like the food available at all times is awesome. And like saying how foodie culture, what I really find interesting is also how that's apparent in the language. Like you can see like you say "你吃了吗" in like instead of "how are you," or if someone's asking you "吃他的豆腐" or "吃蒜" or you know, everything is like food based, and I think the language also kind of reflects that.
是他的豆腐。
你不是我的菜，你不是我的菜。Like even some of their sayings are always to do with food, you know, like it is really just a culture that is enveloped with all these food references and whatnot.
I felt like when I went to China for the first time, I felt like I just belonged there because finally I found a place that was just like so obsessed with food as I was, that was as willing to eat food at any time of the day that I was. Wake up and have some barbecue meat, yeah, no worries. Like, so there's a comment here saying that Hainan rice is an adaptation that evolved over time and was originally brought over by the Hainanese. So I guess it's had a bit of an evolution, a chicken evolution, you could say, I guess. But yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Who wrote that? I'm sorry. Wow, this is very good facts right now. Thank you.
There's another
very informed viewers.
Green, rural charm. I only went to Hainan Beach, but I hear that Hainan is quite beautiful, very, very green, tropical.
I went to all 5 cities in Hainan actually. So I was actually lucky enough to be placed in this amazing accommodation. So I think I was in the W Hotel or something, and yeah, there was like a resort. It went out into the ocean. So not only has it got all these tropics and these cool rainforests and things that you can go like see, it's also got like this ocean, you know, backdrop that's just there, and like the water there is so warm and so nice to swim in. Like it's apparently it's got the best surf in all of China, but also you can also go see ethnic minority groups because they have a few of those down there. I think they're Lizu and Miaozu. I think these two. And Lizu is definitely one. I'm not sure about Miaozu. But yeah, I actually went to a village and I got to see, how, the ethnic minorities used to live back in the day. But they're actually experiencing it. It's like to this day, they're still, upholding the customs and the culture that other minority groups have.
But was it really interesting? From experience, seeing some of those kind of minority villages, and was it a tourist site or did it feel kind of authentic?
Yeah, well, it was different when we went. I can definitely see the tourist side to it, but because we were actually there under we got special treatment when we were there, so I actually got to speak to some of the ethnic minority people. I actually got to learn a lot more about how it works and why these customs happen. It is a bit touristy in the sense that they'll do the pole climbing and the tree climbing and stuff like that for you, and the fire making stuff like that. But this was actually what they do back in the day, and what they do during festivals and stuff. So on one side it is a bit touristy, but on the other side it's that's authentic. It's what it is.
Yeah, no, that's really nice. We just got a question here and a super chat from Australia guy in China. Hi, Rowan. So he has said, do you guys feel that China opened your eyes up more to vegetarian/vegan options and ideas? Hashtag sweet and sour mushrooms for life. We have a sweet and sour mushroom fan here. What do you guys think? I guess, Michael, this would be a good question.
Yeah,
for you.
Michael, you can do this one, bro. I'll leave it to you.
I think it's quite interesting the whole idea about China with meat industry, because the meat's quite a new thing. It was always considered something that only wealthy people could sort of get involved in. And even today in Chinese, if you say ni chi su ma, it's like a swear word. Are you vegetarian? It's are you a pussy kind of thing. So it still had this idea of meat being a wealthy connotation. So for most of China's history, it was all vegetarianism. So to be vegetarian in China is so easy. And I mentioned the mushrooms for sure, and sweet and sour mushrooms, the variety that's out there, but also tofu. We just have one or two types of tofu. You look at China, you go to the malatang restaurants and they've got China tofu skin, this weird frozen tofu that absorbs the flavor so well. So yeah, the amount of different tofus, mushrooms, and vegetables that are out there, for me, to be honest, it is actually easier to be vegetarian in China than here in a lot of ways.
I would agree too. When I made that video about being vegetarian in China, it was the first time. I eat a lot of vegetable when I'm in China, which is also one of the reasons why every time I go to China, I weirdly lose weight, which I wouldn't expect to be the case because you would assume I'm eating more, I'm gaining more. But yeah, when it comes to finding vegetable options, it was when I made that video that I was kind of wow, no matter where I go, no matter what restaurant I'm at, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 great vegetarian/vegan options. And I'm trying to think of a restaurant. If I just went to the local Italian restaurant, it's not even guaranteed I could find anything there. So it's I think it's, as I said before, you have to be kind of flexible to messing up every now and again, because even the most practiced vegans and vegetarians in China make mistakes when they're there, because you never know.
Also cheaper to be vegetarian in China as well, because meat's considered a luxury product, so it's taxed except for pork. So it's got an extra added luxury tax associated with it, except pork. That's why also pork is so prevalent. And then they use that to subsidize certain vegetables like rice, not really vegetable, but rice, tomatoes, and other ones. So if you're ever ordering a malatang or a xiangguo or something, they always weigh it differently with the meat, because the meat's always more expensive than everything else. So there's that added benefit of, there's lots of options and it's cheaper. And I think it's quite good.
Meat tax. That is so interesting. I had no idea that existed. Anyone in the comments, if you have anything to add about this, I want to learn more about this meat tax. Oh, and that's, I want to mention this. There's a comment here saying the famous mushroom is see you tomorrow. And you know that enoki mushrooms, the ones I'm talking about?
It. Oh, it absorbs all that flavor.
So in Chinese, the name of this mushroom is Ming Tian Tian, because they don't digest very well, essentially, and you will literally see them tomorrow. Love that.
Is that the one that's also the jingjian or something, the golden one? It's the short ones that are stuck together, right?
Yeah, it looks kind of similar but different. This one is particularly non-digestible. But yeah, you can do a little experiment at home if you would wish.
That can be another one of your videos, Amy.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Your
everyone will
parents.
come watch that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Which mushroom? Oh, okay.
Which mushroom will I have today to see you tomorrow?
But in all fairness, they are delicious, and they're always one of my go-to options when I go to Malatang or hot pot. Very, very delicious mushroom. I wanted to. There's another thing we all have in common, which is we all studied in the same. I want to say 1 kilometer square in
precinct.
Yeah.
We all studied.
Oh.
Yeah, Wudalco. If you studied in Beijing, you'll know the woo, the good old woo. Yeah, so guys, please introduce where you studied in Beijing and for how long. Michael, how about you go first?
So I studied for 1.5 years in Beida, so Beijing Dashi Peking University, which was phenomenal. Like it's so beautiful. I really like that you could walk around the campus and really feel like you're in China. You have like that Waining Pool that freezes over, and you can go ice skating over in the winter. And there's the little forest that you can sort of sit there and walk around. And yeah, it was an excellent experience.
I went on a date on the campus of Beida.
It's very romantic. Like the first 2 dates I went on with my ex-girlfriend was walking around Waining Pool. Like and it worked. It was the lake, the ambience that worked.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like best date spot ever. Guys, take my advice. You're watching there and you're in Beijing. How about you, Max? Where were you studying? And
well, I'm also your, what was it, 同学, you could say.
You're my
yeah, well, I guess so, because I'm also a lovely alumni of Tsinghua University. So I actually studied there for a year. I had one scholarship, and then the other was on a school exchange, relationship, which was really cool. I really enjoyed it, but it just meant that I got to experience both summer and winter in Beijing. I've got to say there are two extremes over there. As for Tsinghua, if we're talking about Tsinghua, I thoroughly enjoyed how advanced it was technologically, and how a lot of the buildings are being renovated and stuff. The campus itself is huge. Yeah. It's too huge. It's like it's too big. It's too big.
So many canteens. Like I think 20 canteens for you to
ridiculous.
Choose. And each one is ridiculous. Like it's amazing.
I
went to every single one.
I've got to say one thing about Beida is it doesn't have good canteens from what I've heard.
I mean, it's just too small. There's too few. There's a massive line of people always outside of it. But I will try to defend my university's culinary experience. The best dian bing that I've ever had. Like I went to this guy every day for 6 months, sometimes twice a day. And I never got sick of it. But no small talk. I would see this guy every day, and he wouldn't engage with me in small talk. Never learned his name. If I went to get my coffee, half the amount of times at my university in Australia, I would know this woman's children's names by now. But small talk. Yeah. But the dian bings were awesome.
Oh, dian bing is the best. Oh my god, that was probably one of my first foods when I was in China. I fell in love with. I would every morning go and get it right at the gate of my university in Shanghai. Oh, so delicious. I just wanted to interject because apparently before when we said 同学, we should have said
it's 校友, but 同学 means we are actually in the same class, but 校友 is different. Thank you for correcting me. I haven't had a great sleep. I'm sorry. My Chinese not perfect.
Yeah, no, that was great. I always learn 2 or 3 new words when I do these live streams because people will tell me when I say something wrong, which I really appreciate. So guys, please need to tell me.
No, that it actually is very helpful. It is good. We want to be impeccable and perfect at Chinese.
Going backwards by the day, which is a topic I want to bring up in a little bit with you guys, like studying and keeping up your Mandarin while you're in Australia. But first I want to ask you guys, what was it like for you? What was your experience like studying at Tsinghua and Beida? Like, did you have any romances on campus?
This is what we're trying to get at here, isn't it? I know you too well. Michael, you first.
I did actually. I did. And that's the secret weapon of learning Mandarin. Was I did have a Chinese girlfriend. She taught me a lot, including Mandarin. And she's a Beida student, so super intelligent girl. Yeah. But yeah, that was it was an insight into the language and the culture and everything else, really.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a great way of learning more about China, having someone you're spending all that time with that is Chinese. And I think we were chatting the other day, and one of you said that you were living in a dormitory with 15 people. Who was that?
Yeah,
Michael.
yeah. So that's also true as well. Yeah, it was 30 people. I lived in these 2 units that were kind of combined together, and then there was 30 Chinese students living there, and I was sharing my room with like 5 or 6 of them.
Oh,
and it was awesome because at first, like, all my friends, all my classmates were expats. I was just speaking in English, so I needed to engage more with Chinese language. So I moved there, and it was kind of shitty at first because I had no way of sort of communicating with them. But after a while, Mandarin picks up. But it was really intensive. Like you don't have a moment to yourself. And then when I met my girlfriend, I wanted to move out so I can have some sort of space and invite her over instead of having so many people there.
30 dudes waiting.
Yeah, but it was awesome.
Waiting to meet her.
They do these classes every week, and everybody would like take a turn to like lead a discussion, like whether it was on like politics or comedy or philosophy or politics. It was really cool.
Wow. That sounds like an amazing experience. At the time, I'm sure it was super difficult. And when I look back on my experience, like living with a group of my Chinese friends, there were times that I felt just incredibly frustrated because I'm like, I know what you're saying, and I have something I really want to say to you, but I don't have the necessary words and grammar to put it all together. But I learned.
That's interesting. Yeah, I do think I'm a different person when I speak Mandarin. Like the idea of how you express yourself, the limitations you have, and also my voice is higher when I speak Mandarin, which is kind of weird.
Can you give us a? I want to hear.
Can you sing us some Jingju, some Beijing opera?
Oh man, if I really don't like you, then I would start singing with you. But actually, Jingju is one genre that I can sing really well.
Ooh, come on,
Max, you can sing, right? You're a
little bit. A little bit, yeah. Not too much.
Would you care to sing a little tune for us?
What do you want to? I can do 副歌，就是小长大爱的副，那大长小爱，不好意思，大长小爱。OK， 脑袋都是你，心里都是你，小小的爱在这城里好甜蜜，念的都是你。全部都是你，小小的爱在这城里，只为你倾心。好的，谢谢。
You can see how it got through to Han Yu Chao.
阿桑当你老了。
Can't not, man.
It helps when you can sing well because you automatically become a 帅哥 when you can.
我本身不帅，但是唱歌的时候我就变成了一个小马王子，是吧？
It's even more shy if you can sing.
Oh, thank you.
My friend JJ, she's a YouTuber. The other day we tried to do some karaoke together on YouTube, but I found us a back-end streaming platform that actually allows us to sing at the same time, and it sounds pretty good. Would you please join us for one of those live streams? It would be so good.
Oh,
a male voice.
All right. Only if you can coax me. Maybe buy me some rice, and then I'll come.
Rice. Yeah,
just
a few. I'll send some.
Yeah, just the one that you love, Amy. The I mean. Just give me that one.
Okay, I'll get you some nice dongbei rice. That's my face.
That's the stuff.
I've never actually done karaoke. It's such a done thing over there, but I never once went because in my mind, I'll only go with karaoke with someone if I don't like that person because it's such an infliction, my singing on their ears, that it has to be like an enemy of mine for me to subject them to such torment. But otherwise, just wouldn't go.
We should go. We should
humble, bro. I'm sure you can sing your heart out. Yeah, we'll go together. We can make a
Bring
video.
Your earbuds, guys. Just make sure you have like some professional.
Michael.
I'm gonna bust out What she's bust out song. Yeah, that's my favorite song.
Your voice would be like an angel's compared to mine. I have actually video proof. I did a live stream about 2 weeks ago with JJ, and I sang. And I don't know, some people in the chat may remember, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, guys watching right now in the chat, how great was my singing? Let's see what they say.
So good.
No, it's
so
really,
good.
really not good. But
come on, guys, give her a 10. Give her
Even
a 10 out of 10.
Oh, no. My voice is really, really terrible. Wait. These comments are hilarious. Wait.
Did someone already write something? It was bad. It's called. That you should be 委婉的说法呢。你为什么是这么直接呢？ Why are you so direct?
I have a new favorite person.
11 out of 10.
I don't think Sean knows that 10 was the highest, actually.
-9. Oh, must have been so good. Must have been so good.
Okay, this makes me feel better. I think, yeah, Amy, we can go karaoke together. Someone on my level.
Don't worry.
Give it a go now. Give it a go now.
It's a very non-threatening environment, and I always feel very comfortable singing at KTV because everyone sings no matter what their singing level is. Some people obviously can sing very well. Some people don't sing very well either, but just embrace it and like you just sing and it feels nice and there's no embarrassment over it, which I really love. Yeah, so it's really fun, and they have quite a few KTV places here in Sydney. So it would be fun.
I'm down. Let's go. There's so many KTVs in China.
Karaoke malatang, and then I'm 100% there.
Oh, that's the
I thought you can't eat
combination.
malatang.
Oh.
But you're a vegetarian. You're not allowed to eat malatang.
No, I found a vegetarian one actually in Kingston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're out there. Different broths.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Not the same, but-
It's so good. You're so lucky you found a vegan one.
Yeah, it was like a tomato-y one. It was kind of sweet. I was so stoked that I found one. So yeah.
I gotta try that too.
The one that I went to the other day, if you ask them specifically, they will make you like they can accommodate for you as a vegetarian. So it's very, very convenient.
It's very convenient.
Yeah. What was it? So I'm going to change.
We're talking about love, I think.
Oh yeah, we were talking about. Oh, we didn't finish talking about you, Max.
No, we didn't. But I don't need to tell any. If you guys want to know. So
You went to
basically,
Tsinghua, you had not many options, I imagine.
this is not. That was. I think Tsinghua should actually be 被叫做这个男子大学呢，男子大学. I think it should be called like an all guys school because just so many dudes at Tsinghua. But anyway, off topic. I'm sorry about that. Doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's dudes or girls. But yeah, I was with a girl from Belarus. I met her during the first Hanyu Chao, which was 2017, I think. And yeah, so I actually found love in Hanyu Chao, which is pretty cool. And because she's from Belarus, we actually use Chinese as a means to communicate. And her Chinese is probably slightly better than mine, probably a lot better now at this point because she's also Tsinghua now. And yeah, so she kind of pushed me to learn, which was really awesome.
How was her English? Was the English so great?
Oh, her English is let's be honest, this girl can speak 6 languages fluently. Like she's really hardworking and
wanted to speak Mandarin with her.
Oh, well, sometimes, it gets embarrassing for me because she speaks 6 languages and here I am on my second language and she's still better than me at every language. But anyway, so we actually met. We did TV shows together and stuff, which was good. And then, just long distance, it wasn't very helpful because, she's somewhere else in the world and it got hard. But yeah, whilst we were together, it was really good because we pushed each other to learn. And it's kind of strange thinking that, it's someone that isn't from China, like still teaching me Chinese. But she was. So that was really nice. That was really cool. And so China was kind of our bridge, which was awesome. But now I'm done Shengao. So if anyone wants, to get my number, just write in the chat.
I'll leave Max's details in the description.
Oh no! I was just kidding.
Like they do in Fake on Water. I'll give your, mobile.
Yeah. If you subscribe and pay $5, you get Max's number or something.
You might take your shirt off, even less than $5.
I might take off my shirt.
Well, Max, you were supposed to be going back to do a master's in China right now, right?
I was going to go to Beida, so I was going to go to Beijing Daxue, and I wanted to study. So that's Peking University. So guys, I should start speaking Chinese, and that's So I wanted to go there to study international business as a master's because I've done international relations, international studies as a bachelor degree. So it'd be cool to do like something slightly different. It's still international, but I think trade would be good to learn in China, considering they're just big trade partners with Australia. So I really wanted to go study international business, and it's also a means of me being able to go back to China and kind of experience it all over again, because really there's nothing like studying abroad and being in the same boat as so many people from around the world, and also enjoying the same culture that they are, and seeing new things together, or experiencing new things with even the Chinese people, and they're willing to show you this stuff. So it's really cool. I got to go back.
Yeah, shame that you couldn't go, obviously because of COVID. But
Yeah,
can you
next
just
year.
and go back next year?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
well,
that's
I'll have to apply again. But yeah, I'll apply, and I think I'm going to be trying to apply for like a Pyongyang or something like that. I think they have a scholarship
is it
program,
the
which is
capital city of North Korea?
probably it's a really confusing name. I know there's one called Schwarzman, Schwarzman College,
Oh yeah,
which is in
sure.
Tsinghua. But Beijing University has their own, Peking University, so has their own like version of that. I think it's Yantian. I really don't
had a
know.
friend that did it.
But yeah, I'm
They
gonna apply for that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Yanqi. I don't want to say the wrong name 10 times in a row. But anyway, yeah. So the applications close in December. So I'm gonna go apply before that. Yanjing. That's what it's called.
Yanjing.
Yanjing Scholar. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I know the
So
Australian government has quite a few good scholarships out there, because
Mm.
obviously China being such an important trade partner. So, and also then
Yeah.
China, going to be good scholarships out there as well. So
Oh,
I think
yeah.
probably learning Mandarin, you have the most opportunities to get some sort of funding to help you get over there and along, language learning journey.
Yeah, it's significantly harder once you want to study like a master's or
True.
so I think for me, when I was at Tsinghua, I was studying Chinese. It was very easy for me to get in. I even got a scholarship. But I was wanting to go to Tsinghua and study like a master's or a doctorate or something like that. Tsinghua is like the hardest university in the world to get into. Like for me to get into Tsinghua as a student would be almost harder than for me to get into like Harvard in America. Like it's just so competitive.
Yeah.
I think it'd be harder, because you just think about how many, the population of China and how much education is like valued over there. I think it's harder to get into, maybe for a domestic student. I'm not sure about foreigners getting in, but for a domestic student, I think getting into Beida or Tsinghua is harder than for us to get into Harvard.
Yeah, just think how much competition you have, and I found it fascinating.
That sounds rough.
I would be in the canteen at Tsinghua looking around, being like, I'm literally surrounded by the smart kids in the country, because one person from one like county that gets to go to one of these really top universities. It's so competitive. So you're literally surrounded by crazy smart people. So I found that very interesting, studying there.
It definitely pushes you to, to drive yourself and motivate yourself. Like I find that when I'm in China, I actually develop a lot more in terms of, intellectual capabilities, or, stuff to do with knowledge, because I've kind of embraced the culture where everyone just studies really hard, so it's good in some ways, because it makes you more of a, like an academic person, or just a person that wants to go out of their way to learn things. Which was really cool. It's really motivating.
I guess the opposite of that is an English teacher in China, and I was teaching kids like quite young, and their schedule was so packed. They were doing English lessons with me, followed by, I was like, what are you guys doing on the weekend after this? And there'd be like maths lessons, violin lessons, swimming lessons. It was just, these kids were as young as 6, even younger, and they were just so already being so like drilled with these extracurricular education activities on top of their schooling and stuff like that. So I think especially like only child policy would be, when you have 4 grandparents and 2 parents on that one kid, and they can have 2, so it kind of spreads it out, would kind of intensify that need to get an education and just
definitely
be different than everyone else.
But it is like a lot of pressure. I was talking to some school kids that would be at school at like 7 a.m. and finish school around 10 p.m. Like for us here in Sydney, like my school would start at 9, finish at 3. It's definitely a lot of learning happening. But yeah, very different 2 countries in terms of styles of education and timetables and stuff like that, and pressure. And I think it depends on the family as well. I guess everyone is different. But yeah. what did you guys get much into? Changing the topic again. Did you guys get much into like the drinking culture when you were in China at all? Like, did you enjoy getting a beer with the mates? Like, what
With
was
the
that?
boys, beer with the boys.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the Chinese drinking culture. Yeah, it's
good.
so much fun. First time I had baijiu, hated. I thought it was the worst drink in the world. I couldn't understand how anybody could actually enjoy it. But then I got to drink more and more of it, and absolutely loved it at the end. And
You
drinking
love
with like
baijiu?
older generation, so
I'm
good.
sorry, I can never get used to baijiu.
To be fair, I was
I'll
drinking
drink
like
it.
alcohol and like sort of the really not the sort of stuff you just get into the supermarket.
Yeah.
But it was so. But you got to drink a fair amount of it in order. This is all with my girlfriend's family and stuff like that. And yeah, they're so rowdy. They just like keep going, and you have these dinners that just end up being like 5 hours, and everyone just stumbles out there at the end of it. It's messy but so good. Love it.
Yeah. I would just say that I couldn't drink because I have a very low alcohol tolerance. So as soon as if I would take one shot, it would mean that I would have to, pretty much pass out by things.
Yeah.
But I was always scared. Like, it was probably really rude of me to never, accept too much alcohol because, I want to learn more about the etiquette in China in terms of table manners and drinking culture, like how to politely decline a drink. Because if I have
my understanding,
it's really hard to be
well as a woman, it's different. Like that's much more accepting of someone who can't drink if you're just simply because I think the pressure on a male to drink is so much stronger, especially like family and business environments. It can be
true. And I think someone was telling me it varies depending on where you are in China. Apparently, the north, it's a lot more pressure to drink around the table or at a business meeting. But someone in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, baijiu I could never get into. But Michael, I think you're the only foreigner I've met that actually not only tolerates but loves. Wow.
It's a quality.
Russians love it. Russians love it.
Really?
Like some dinners and no one really enjoys it except for me. So I feel like I'm wasting when I bust it out and spread it to my friends.
I want to make a video
more
where
for you,
yeah, exactly.
I was thinking of giving my parents baijiu for the first time. I think that would make an interesting video. Maybe Michael, you can come and be the baijiu connoisseur and tell us what a friend is.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I actually find that with me, my probably most vivid and shouldn't be most vivid, but for some reason it is my most vivid memory of drinking in China was the first Chinese wedding I ever went to. And because I went on stage and I sang a song for them because it was like a 传统婚礼, so it was really traditional wedding, which was really cool. But like with these traditional weddings, they end up inviting like 1,000 to 1,000 guests, which it's quite insane. And then like because I'll be there, I'll be like one of 1,000 people that is foreign, and so all these like shushu and ai like kept going, look, every person has to serve a drink to you and you got to drink it all. So I ended up smashing so much mouth haijiu, and I thought I had it. I thought I was all good. I stood up and I couldn't walk straight. I was that's not good.
That's the thing.
Games.
They all drink with you first, and then you have to like reciprocate the respect and drink individually with them. So if you're sitting on these big round tables, like that could be 12 to 15 shushus and ayis that you have to sort of then you have to remember the names as well, and it's like you have to shushu wajingni, and you got to stand up the glass a bit lower than theirs. And you get absolutely hammered. But some of them they just try to get you drunk. Like some of them are just drinking.
Some love to watch you get drunk.
And they're just like, let's get the Wygor and smash,
Actually, I think they like to see, what your tolerance is compared to them. Like, who's going to win? Like, who can have more shots? But that's just the impression I've gotten. I don't know whether that's actually true. But, who can drink more? Let's see.
They always ask, like, how much can you drink? And I don't know, like, that's not a question I've been asking unless I was in, like, high school or something. But in China, it's a question which I wonder if it's like a sign of masculinity if you can drink more, or they're really curious about concern for you, so they want to push you to drink more than your limit.
They just want you to why high. They want you to party.
There was a story.
Anyone has said any comments about drinking or Yeah, I'm interested to learn more about the Chinese drinking culture because I don't drink a lot. It's hard for me to learn about. Eating culture, I've like know a bit about because I like to eat, but I'm fascinated by the different etiquette. Like I know that when you're drinking and you're with someone more senior, say this is the senior person and this is the senior person should be on top, but they're always going to try to be on the bottom because they want to be noticed. But you need to make the effort to go below that. And sometimes you'll get down to the floor trying to like see who goes on top and who's like whose glass. It's fascinating. I want to learn more about it. So yeah, maybe I'll get into Baijiu one day.
You even have to hold it with specific hands. You have to have, I think it's right hand on the bottom, and when you're doing it,
I
it's
didn't
really
know about
strange. So much small little etiquette things that really like show if you know China and its culture. So when you do it, it's really cool because they go, "Ni xian dou dong," or like you know everything, you know, and it's like you're like, yeah. But no, I don't know everything. I'm very far from it.
I know two things.
Yeah, I know two things. That's
I
it.
know two things about China. I just saw an interesting comment from my friend Curtis saying that Korea and Japan also has an intense drinking culture. I know that Korea does. I read a statistic that I think Korea drinks the most amount of spirits of any other country.
It's soju.
Koreans go hard. They soju. I've had a few drinking nights with Koreans, and it's always so much fun. Like their drinking is a next level. It's just beer, but add some soju to the beer just for an extra kick, because why not? And yeah, they're a rowdy bunch. I love it. But
I love
Japanese culture I don't know much about.
No, I think I don't know much about either. I only know that soju and I like the flavor.
Yeah, I remember my Chinese teacher was showing me like these pictures of Japanese business men in like suits just passed out in the streets of like Tokyo. And I don't know whether that was like the China-Japanese rivalry sort of showing itself, or whether that actually goes on in Japan. Because it's like also this idea of like showing respect to people, so go around to drink with them, and the pressure to actually consume alcohol in a business environment.
I know I've been at a couple of business meetings in China where I've been around a table and I've been with friends. So I haven't been under the pressure to drink, but my friends really want this deal to go through. So they're drinking to get this deal to go through. And some of my friends that just don't drink and don't drink well, but they have to drink in order to show their respect and to sure that they get, the deal that they want.
It's almost like the cigarettes. When the boss offers you a cigarette, you can never say no. You just got to smoke it, even if you don't smoke. You just got to smoke it.
Man. So interesting. It's so different. Just reminiscing on all those interesting dinners I've had.
I had this
Too many.
One family of my ex-girlfriend who was like the brother of the grandma, and the cousin wanted to get married, and so the fiance came to dinner with the family, and he doesn't drink either. Because there's an Asian flush thing. There's like an enzyme in the belly of some Chinese people who don't, digest alcohol very healthily. But this, the older guy said, he was like one of the patriarchs of the family. He's like, if you don't drink with me, I won't accept you in the family. And so he kept drinking, and then he just drank so much, he ended up passing out at the dinner at a lovely restaurant. He ended up just like fainting, had to get taken to hospital and get his stomach pumped. There's that much pressure on you to consume alcohol if someone from like a higher generation or in a business environment, tells you to.
Yeah.
Wow, it's fascinating.
Well, status is a big thing in China. Something I've realized, like you need to have 面子，你不要丢人。You need to have face, save face. So like you said, if someone is in a position that you want to be in or you respect, then of course you're just going like 你都说得很对 or something like 你所说的话都对了 like you really gotta please them, like 取悦他们. But like that's it's also a sign of respect.
So true. Like, I think that every country will doesn't want to make a fool of themselves and wants to save face, but I think China does take it to the next level. The thing that I always found interesting is going to restaurants and seeing two people out at dinner and they've ordered like 10
20
plates,
dishes.
two of them, and I've always found that really interesting. I think it's something about saving face and showing that you can like provide and afford it. I always found that very interesting.
I think it's becoming less frequent with the new generations, but it was definitely a thing back in the day. It's a bit weird to see what happens after, you know, globalization and westernization, or like the Sinization to other, you know, countries. It's kind of this. I think the future is going to be a very international. I don't think there's going to be many sovereign states anymore, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm interested to see what happens because everything is moving so quickly, even in just the last few years. So I'm very interested to see what the future is going to hold. And I think that's a nice place to end our stream for today.
Yeah, it could be good.
Past 10. I don't want to keep you guys up.
That's a whole extra 15 minutes. What?
Oh, I had such a lovely chat with you guys today. Thank you so much for joining. Is there anything you want to put out there as a few last words? Do you want to like share an Instagram handle? Like, is there anywhere you want people to?
Share your WeChat.
If you guys really want to see more, I do have Douyin. I do have Douyin. So what I do in Douyin, which is TikTok, basically, is I translate lots of Chinese songs into English, and I do a few English into Chinese, and then I also just sing Chinese songs. So it's just called 小马歌手.
I'm just writing it in the comments.
Yeah. So that's 小马歌手. So if you just want to look at, you know, foreigners singing Chinese songs in English and have a laugh and be like, look at this, it's different, it's interesting, go have a look. I'd appreciate that. My Instagram is just my name, my Facebook is just my name, Max Silk. So if you want to contact me, just contact through those channels. And then also I'd just like to say thank you for watching. You guys have been great, and thanks for tolerating me and these guys.
A YouTube channel. I think people
I should really
to say, and you too, Michael.
Yeah,
Come
maybe
on my channel more.
Yeah, we could do some videos later.
Yeah, we're all in Sydney.
We may end up just live streaming our Xiangguo and our karaoke afterwards. Why not?
Oh, for sure. Let them hear our beautiful voices.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Michael, is there anything that you want to add or say or share?
Not all being said and done. Just good night.
He's a good man. Oh, he's a good man. His name is Michael Tianxiao. Search him up on Facebook and find him there.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for everyone for watching, and I'll catch you next weekend for another live stream with an undisclosed guest as of yet.
Also, when Koala Meets Panda short video contest, you've got to try it. If you know, you don't even have to know China or know Chinese. You just have to, you know, show your interest in China, and you can win a great award, which is, you know, a trip to China, which we all got, and it was fantastic. So you guys should all give it a go. You should all just try. September 1st, was it? Yeah, if you're in Australia. So Koala Panda short video contest, basically about Australia and China relations. So it's good. It's helpful, and I was very grateful for such an experience. So if you guys have the time, you got to do it.
Thanks for that, Max.
No problem.
See you all. Hope you have a lovely evening and a lovely week ahead. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Max. Bye, guys.